take a moment to thank our sponsor, CatchMark Technologies. If you're looking for technical support, structured cabling, cybersecurity, or digital marketing, they're your go-to team. With tons of experience, they will guide you through all of your technical problems. Reach out to them at catchmarkit.com. Get rolling?
Let's do it.
All right, welcome to episode number, I think we're on 11, of the Benchwarmers Perspective. Today, I'm here with Bud Giddings, Hardwood Midwest Director, if I'm not mistaken.
Director. Yeah, that's good. And I have coached a little bit too.
Yep.
So
Yeah, tell me a little bit about that program.
yeah, so this is I believe it's our fifth year. The first year we tried to get going was when COVID hit. So running a travel basketball program and COVID hit, we're like, not the year to do it. So we held off for a year, and then really how it got started was Derek Griffin, who's from Whitehall. He lives out in Colorado now, and he runs Hardwood Evolution. His program is doing great out there, but him and Nate Ardema are buddies, and this was when Nate was still coaching at Whitehall, and they had met about basketball things, and the VAC just got built, and Derek was the best man in my wedding. I turned into the middleman. We're like, hey, why don't we offer travel basketball out of the VAC? Because everybody seems to have to drive to Grand Rapids for this. So we did, and then we've been doing okay. You know, we usually have 7 to 10 teams a year, and it's not too big, but it's another option for kids along the lake shore instead of having to drive to Grand Rapids to experience travel ball.
Yeah. So outside, kind of tell me about your backstory as a basketball coach and career and all that.
Okay. Yeah. So once I got done with college, I came back to Oak Ridge. That's where I went to high school, and I did some substitute teaching. I helped coach football, JV football there for a couple of years. Then I helped coach JV basketball there. Tracy Rule was still the head coach then, and he's still now. But then I got my teaching job up in Hart, and actually I did my student teaching in Fruitport. I did varsity baseball there for a year, then got my teaching job up here in Hart. I took over the baseball program here because it came open, took a year off after 5 years of coaching because we had our second kid. And then the next year started assisting with the varsity basketball program here. And then Hardwood kind of started up. So I stopped doing that. And Hardwood keeps me pretty busy in the spring.
Yeah.
Although I've now added JV golf coach to my resume.
Oh, really? For
Yeah,
Hart?
last year we had like 22 kids sign up. They came knocking on my door. Hey, Mr. Giddings, you want to be the JV golf coach?
That's awesome.
I'm like, heck yeah, I'll get some swings.
Thank you to our sponsor, High Performance Carpet and Tile Cleaning. Do you need your home or business carpet or tile refreshed? Looking brand spanking new? Well, these are the guys to do it. With an extensive background in the carpet and tile industry, they will leave your floors looking brand new. Give them a call today at 231-299-9296.
Then before golf league, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But we had so many kids that it was making sure nobody was messing up the course and doing stuff like that. So this will be our second year of JV golf.
How many kids you guys looking to have this year?
I think we have 15 or 16 signed up this year. So we're going to try to keep 6 at varsity and 6-ish at JV level. So
you've recently gotten pretty big into the golf scene. I know that at playing in league and stuff like that. How much have you seen the game just explode at the high school level over the last, probably 4 or 5 years?
Yeah. So, I mean, we've struggled to get enough players for a varsity golf team at Hart. So, I don't know what it was. I don't know why it happened, but last year, like I said, 22 kids decided to come out, and so they hired me as the JV coach. And now girls are starting to talk about golf here, and there's talks about maybe getting a girls team in the fall. I think we had a couple girls sign up for tryouts for this year. It might be down to just one of them now. I think the others decided to either work or go play softball or do something else. But for whatever reason, it's taken off here in Hart, and it's great. I mean, it's a lifelong sport. So if you get good at it now, it makes golf league little more fun later when you
Yeah,
get in it
yeah.
as an
Make it
adult.
you don't have to work towards it as much. Um,
Yeah,
so it's crazy now looking back at it because when I was in school, like it felt like we had a huge team because we had full varsity, and then we had a
yep,
full JV, and then we had like enough for a second JV team and a second varsity team.
yeah,
And then now it's like they're having even more than that. And you're like,
right,
holy crap, are we going to have to cut in golf? Like, that's
right.
a real question now. Are we
It
going to have
is,
to have cuts?
and I don't know if that was kind of a result of COVID.
Yeah.
When everything was shut down, one of the things you could do is go get out on a golf course and not be too close to people. So I don't know if that's when some kids started picking it up and they're getting to the high school level now or what.
Yeah. And I actually.
At this moment, we'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsors. Chris Wank, Century 21 First Class Realty. Looking to sell or purchase a new home? Or perhaps invest in a plot of land? Chris Wank with Century 21 First Class Realty is your go-to expert. As a leader in West Michigan real estate, Chris brings unparalleled knowledge and dedication to every transaction. Don't wait. Call Chris Wank today at 616-414-5420 and take the first step towards your real estate dreams. Century 21 First Class Realty, your trusted partner in West Michigan property.
The last episode was with Eric Sanford, who runs First Tee, the First Tee program for West Michigan, and that chapter. And we talked about we felt like it was a mix of a couple things, right? It was a mix of it's become a little bit more accessible, especially on the used market. Like just because you can go online, you can get a used set of clubs for $100,
Yep.
$80, and you can just start playing. And then it's also, like you said, you had COVID, which one of the only things you could do during COVID was go out and golf. And then on top of that, now it's become kind of the cool thing to do, I think, in the spring.
Yeah.
For a lot of high school kids who were running track or maybe undecided, is to let's go play golf, let's go walk, let's go have fun out in the sun, and then it becomes a
Yep.
lifelong thing you can do all the way until you're
Exactly.
80, 90 ish.
Well, and in the golf league on Tuesday nights, there's 70, 80-year-olds
Oh yeah,
kicking my
Carl
butt
Wink's
when
out
I
there
have to go.
every season, stealing your money.
Frustrating,
Um, so tell me a little bit about Hart basketball and the season this season and what you've kind of seen from them. I know you're not quite as much of a part of the program as you were, but
yeah.
I know you're still teaching up there and all that. So
Yeah. So yeah, I teach in the high school here, and there's a lot of buzz around our basketball programs lately. They've had some really good seasons, and I think the boys getting to play Ludington last Friday, that was a great test to
yeah,
with the top of the Lakes division to see where we stack up. And I think they kind of had a slow start, and other than that, they played Ludington pretty even, and
yeah.
so
I
they're
think
they're doing a solid job.
How do you think them moving up to the Lakes division is gonna fare for them?
Well, and that's kind of what made me think about, like, that's a good measuring stick for them. Is I think they'll be fine.
Yeah,
I
I
think they'll
agree.
be competitive. I don't know that I don't think they'll go in there and win it right away, but I think they have the ability to beat anybody in the Lakes division as well.
Yeah, and I when I heard about it at first, I was like, I feel like Manastee's a little bit bigger school, and then I looked at the numbers, and Hart's bigger by 4 students, and I'm like,
Yes,
I did not realize it was that close. And then there's now
so
talks
close.
of Fruitport coming in or Spring Lake coming in and shifting more teams down
Right.
to help that. What do you kind of think about the realignment? Like, what is your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's something they should consider every year for sure.
Yeah,
It almost, I think, like you said, we're 4 kids ahead of Manistee, and then I think I think it was Scottville might be like 5 less than Manistee.
yeah.
So
It
there's a
was it
bunch
was
of
close.
schools. Like Montague's not that much bigger than Hart, I don't think, and so there's right in the middle to the lower half. It's seems to be a little more balanced as far as student enrollment. I don't know what the bigger schools have, but um, I think our football program kind of has righted the ship here as well. And, I think they're not going to probably go in and win the conference if it's in the big division right away. But I think they're at a spot where they'll compete.
Yeah,
And that was what was not happening before
yeah,
the change was
yeah.
made. So,
So here, a question for you. Hart is really, really young as a basketball team this year. Who's kind of the guys to watch going into next year, do you think?
I haven't been to a ton of games. I try to watch online when I can, but I know Colton Rockwell as a freshman, he's played with the Grand Rapids Storm at their top level the last couple years for
Mm-hmm.
travel ball. So he's got a lot of high level experience. And then other than him, let's see, Caleb Ackley, both of those kids played hardwood at one point and
Yeah.
then moved on to the Grand Rapids programs, which totally understandable. I tell parents all the time, like, just let me know if you think this isn't a fit for you and you want to go try out because the Storm and NBA, they offer higher level teams than we do.
Yeah.
Well, now we've had some teams that could compete with maybe their second team, but not at their Under Armour level or at their top levels there. So anytime like Cam Thompson played with us for a few years, and then he went to the Under Armour, the
Yep.
UAA or the GUAA, I think is what it's called. And so we have the ability to compete with those programs, just probably not at their highest level. So, but what I was saying, Caleb Ackley, he's played with NBA as well. So there's more kids from Hart.
At this moment, we would like to take a moment to thank our sponsors. Park Place Sports. Want to support your local athletics program? Look no further than Park Place Sports. As the leader in banner and sponsorship program for athletes, they provide top-notch services to help your team shine. Visit their Facebook page, Park Place Sports LLC, and see how they can elevate your athletic program today. Park Place Sports, your partner in athletic excellence.
That travel ball experience, which I think hardwood has helped, at least got their feet wet with
Yep.
it. And whether they move on to a different program or stay with us, whatever, that's
Yeah.
fine. But I think, just going and playing against that top competition around the state or the Midwest has made a difference.
So now that I'm thinking about it, have you seen an explosion in just, I mean, really in the Oceana County and kind of Hart athletics over the last 3 or 4 years since the conference shift? Because it feels like every year Hart's getting a little bit bigger and a little bit better and rolling into that. Do you kind of see the same thing?
Yeah, I think since that conference switch, especially with football for us, I think it got us competitive. And so, you know, when you're competitive and you're winning and we make the playoffs for the first time, like there's that excitement. And when that's there, more kids are going to come out for things.
Yeah.
So I think it was very helpful for us in that case at Hart, just to get more kids interested because, it's hard. When I coached for my 5 years of baseball here, I loved practice. And then the games, we were just a little over our heads in the conference. And it's like, you give credit to the kids for showing up every day because they love the game.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So you guys are kind of going into your season for hardwood. What
yep.
does that look like for you as you go into the season? I know you guys have tryouts coming up or already have had tryouts. What does that look like?
So yeah, we've always just done a spring season, but this year for the boys, we started in January. So we have three middle school team. We have an eighth grade boys team, a seventh grade, and a fifth grade boys team, which we've never had a fifth grade a team that young before. Um, so they're kind of wrapping their seasons up here in March, and then March 16th is our tryouts for boys and girls. For boys, it'll be 9th through 11th grade, and then girls will be 7th through 11th. So the reason we didn't do a middle school girls season during the winter is in the West Michigan Conference, they start their middle school
Yeah, they
season
start them
in like
like
February.
yeah, yeah,
So I think there is some kind of rule with MHSAA that they can only play in one or two tournaments potentially with like travel ball. I didn't even want
yeah,
to mess
yeah.
with
You
it.
don't
Didn't
want to
want to
even go
deal
down that
with it.
road and end up having an issue. Yeah, I get you.
Exactly. So we just held off. So we'll have, the numbers are looking decent. I think we'll have 3 or 4 girls teams. That's how the numbers are looking. And then at the high school level, I think we'll get a team at 9th, 10th, and 11th grade. So yeah, the tryouts are coming up, and we're excited about that. And then they'll play. The other hard part about hardwood is Oceana County and Muskegon County have different spring breaks. So
Yep.
we do our tryout. We can maybe get a practice or two in, and then Oceana County goes on spring break.
Yep.
And then we come back, and then Muskegon County goes on spring break. So we kind of have a 2 week time frame where we don't get a ton done. So we'll start tournaments at the end of April and then play through May. And then June is high school month. So we don't mess with that. And we used to play in July, but it seems that football starts up after dead week and the fall sports. So it's hard to get the whole team back after we take that month off. So
Yeah. So what has the growth looked like for you guys over the last? I know when my brother was playing, or my brothers were both playing,
yeah,
you guys were pretty small. I think you only had 2 or 3 teams maybe at the time, and it was mostly just boys, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, yeah.
But now like you said, you got close to 7 teams between boys and girls.
Yep.
What's the growth look like?
So yeah, you're right. We did start with only a couple teams, and that was just boys. And then we tried to get the girls' side going as well. And for whatever reason, the boys' side has just exploded more than the girls' side has. So I think last year I think we had 1 or 2 girls' teams, and then the rest were boys' teams. But this year the numbers are looking good for girls again. So I think when it's all said and done, we'll have close to 10 teams again this year. So we've been floating between that 8 to 10 number. So
Yep.
as the years have gone on and we've built a little bit of a reputation for being a decent program here on the west side of the state, I get a lot of we've had kids from Manistee all the way down to Grand Haven.
Yeah.
So it's just a nice option if you're not looking to drive to Grand Rapids from Ludington or even from Hart.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's a long drive to practice for 2 hours during the week and stuff like that. So
Yeah. So for say what does your role look like in Hardwood? Now that you're not necessarily coaching as much, as kind of the guy in the chair, as you could say.
yeah. So like I said, I kind of got stuck in this as through Derek and Nate,
Yeah.
and it all of a sudden fell in my lap. And when we first started, Derek would come fly back and help me run tryouts. Now I've got a handle on that to where I feel comfortable.
At this moment, we would like to take a moment to thank our sponsors. Green Ridge Realty. Looking to buy, sell, or finance property in West Michigan? Look no further. Chris Dykman and Sarah Reel, the trusted names in West Michigan real estate, are here to guide you every step of the way. With years of experience and deep understanding of the local market, they make your real estate dreams a reality. Visit Green Ridge Realty at 323 East Cobley Street, Whitehall, and let the experts take care of you. Ready to make your move? Contact Green Ridge Realty today.
So I do all of the scheduling, the social media posts, all the behind the scenes things that signing them up for tournaments, working with the VAC to get practice times and trying to, order uniforms and all that kind of stuff. And so it's just a lot of the behind the scenes things that takes a lot of the pressure off whoever's coaching the team, things they don't have to worry about. I give them a schedule, say, here's your practice times, here's the tournaments. And, as long as they're showing up and running good practices and, attending everything, it's worked out really well so far.
Yeah. And what's it look like for you on a game day? Like for any of your numerous teams? Are you out there facilitating, or you staying home and just making sure everything's going well?
Yeah. So if I'm not coaching, I try to get to maybe one of the Grand Rapids tournaments. A lot of our tournaments are in Grand Rapids, but some are all over the state and maybe one's out of state. But I don't tend to get to too many. I have 3 young kids at home, and one of the reasons I stopped coaching is my daughter plays rec soccer. So I was having to either miss her rec games in the mornings on Saturdays or leave at halftime. And last year, I remember she scored her first goal in the second half, and I left at halftime. My wife texted me, Nora just scored her first goal. I'm like,
yeah.
I didn't want to miss any more of those moments.
Yeah.
So that's, for me, it's just I'm making sure I'm communicating with the coaches and maybe the tournament directors, and if we need to work out any logistics between those two people, I'm there to help with that stuff.
Yeah. So after the spring season, what's next for Hardwood Midwest?
So most of our teams will wrap up in May with this new the tryout coming up in March, and then like I said, June is high school month, so we don't do a ton there. We have ran some camps in the past during the summer, and we might try to do that again this summer. But other than that, I used to do training, at the VAC, whether it was group training or individual training, but again, it's with three young kids, it's been a little harder
on
for
summer
me
break at that point. If
on summer break. I would like to, if I have a moment, I would like to get to the golf course and
every
try to get
Tuesday,
a few holes in.
every Tuesday,
Yes,
Oceana
yes,
Golf Course.
yep. So, in my free time, you know, instead of doing the trainings or things like that, I've decided to stay home and hang with the kids and try to work on my golf game a little. But so yeah, the off season for us is pretty long. And there's not a ton going on. We just want to provide kids from our area a closer option,
An opportunity.
and an opportunity to go play at the next level.
Quick break from the action to thank our sponsor. Meraki Performance is a leader in performance coaching. Whether you're looking to motivate your business or your athletic team, Meraki Performance can help. Check them out at merakiperform.com.
And we need to be realistic about it. We don't promise people that they're going to get scholarships by playing with us. Like it's you want to get better. We don't care if we win any tournaments. Would we like to? Of course, everybody likes to win, but the ultimate goal for me, in my eyes, is that these kids that play for Hardwood, they can go back to their high school teams with more experience, playing against a higher level of competition, a greater speed of play. And so, that they can win district championships, conference championships. Those are the things you remember, not what spring travel ball tournament you won at ninth grade level.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, for sure. So kind of transitioning back into the golf stuff, starting league coming up here in about, what is it today? This is like the 4th of March. So we got another month.
I think it's April. I think I just looked. It was April 22nd or 29th, I think is when it starts.
Back into it. What's your what aspirations do you have this year? What are you looking to do this year?
Oh, man, I just want to be consistent.
Yeah.
So I'll go play, with some buddies not on Tuesday at golf league, or I'll take my kids with me, or actually my wife likes to golf as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we get the family membership between Oceana and Venona, which is awesome. That you 2 for 1, and it's super affordable as far as the memberships go. So for my wife and I, that turns into date night during the summer. Is we'll get so we end up still paying for golf because we got to pay a babysitter. But
you're paying one way or another. Yeah.
So we just both enjoy it, and I'll go shoot really, really well with them, and then I get to Tuesday night, and I like to think I'm a little mentally stronger than what I show out there. So
I'm hoping, I'm going to have to take a break halfway through the season, unfortunately, this year. Well, I don't know if you can say unfortunately, because we're having a baby, so it's not unfortunate, but
right.
For my golf game, it is. But I'll have to take a little break, but I am going to play league this year. I will be there.
Good.
I'm hoping to find that same consistency. Every year, it seems like I start off just hotter than the sun, and then it slowly, I just tank. It just goes down and down until the plane crashes right into the dirt. And then by that last week, I'm like, I just get me out of here. Get me out of here. Let's take another moment to thank our sponsor, Shoreline Restoration and Construction. Did a storm recently hit your business, home, or other building? Then Shoreline Restoration and Construction can help. They are a leader in remodels, new construction, and much, much more. They also restore water-damaged buildings, flooded basement, and so much more.
I'm excited about the practice range that Oceana is
definitely.
getting in. Because what I really want to work on is my short game. I don't care to hit off the driving range as much, but I want to chip and putt, and if I could get good at that, really good at. I was listening to a book it's called How to Break 80, and they talked about the short game, chipping and putting. They said everybody has the ability to be a zero handicap at chipping and putting.
Yeah.
That doesn't take some physical talent that some people have and other people don't. Everybody has the ability to be a zero handicap at that stuff. So last year I was chipping in the yard all the time and trying to get better at that. So
Yeah.
that's my goal, is to work on my short game.
Yeah. I think that's everybody's goal.
Yeah.
In like in every golfer you ask, they're like, I just got to get a better short game. It's
Right.
funny because last year I started off the season putting out of my mind. I was averaging like for 9 holes, I was averaging like 16 putts around. For 18, I was looking at more like 30 or 29 sometimes, breaking to that
Yeah.
29. And I got my handicap all the way down to like a 11. And then
Yeah.
about halfway through the season, I just hit a lull, and I couldn't make a putt to save my life. And then once you
Yeah.
start missing them, you're like, and you do it for a few rounds in a row, you're like, every time you step up to a 6-footer, it looks like it's 12 feet.
Especially at Oceana.
Yes, especially there, which I will admit, they are a little slower, and they have been, but still, you get on top of number 10, and it's just, you're done. If you don't hit the
Yep.
hole, you're done.
Yep.
And I did that far too many times last year.
Oh yeah. That's what a lot of times you're hoping for a double bogey coming out of
Yeah.
that hole, and you're happy.
I had it last year where it was right after the Foster,
Yep.
and they had just rolled them, and they were so fast. And we played the day after, and I
Yep.
hit up on top of that number 10, and I watched my putt roll all the way down the hill, and then I chipped back up and was on top again. Except for this time, my chip didn't stay there and came right back to me, and I did it like
Yep.
3 more times. I
Yeah.
was like, "Are
Yeah.
you kidding me?" But
Yeah.
yeah, well, I appreciate you coming on today. I love hearing about Hardwood Midwest. I think it's a great opportunity for basketball players, both boys and girls in the area. I think it's something that we haven't had in this area for a long, long time. Outside of Mona Shores League for the younger kids, for the high school level, we haven't really had that tournament. You were really reliant on what the high school teams were doing,
Right.
on the outside. So what you guys do is a great opportunity for kids who want to get out and want to just kind of play in a way and get better. So yeah, I appreciate you coming on, and that's kind of all I had today.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.